All right, ladies and gentlemen, I have some uh, hangover-inducing vodka, some cheap soda, and some dirty ice. We're going to talk about the Gaetz Report. That's about. I think there's one more shot in there, but I mean, I'm not really a fan of this vodka. I just need to use it up. So, for those of you who don't know, one, I drink in these videos because I'm a food blogger and I need to use up the stuff that I purchase from my blog. It's a hobby. It's not what I do for a living. And two, Matt Gaetz is a politician that Trump had tried to appoint to a high-level office, and he, turned out to be too scummy for that. Anyway, for every 1,000 subscribers I get, I do purchase one of these bracelets from 4Ocean. 4Ocean pulls a pound of trash out of the ocean every time I do that. If you'd be so kind as to comment, like, and subscribe, you'd be doing your part for a better world. Now, Matt Gaetz there. So apparently, they, released this report that told us that Matt Gaetz is a politician. Ice is frozen at the bottom of this glass. And, the thing there being is we knew he was a politician. He's a particularly scummy politician, but, that is kind of what his thing is. That's, we have a reasonable amount of evidence to suggest that politicians in Washington do things commonly. Not all of them, obviously, but many politicians and powerful people get together, do drugs, and have orgies. That's a politician thing. Now, Matt Gaetz, the big thing there being is they're saying he did drugs and had sex with one underage woman, which, is bad. Okay, it's bad. But, I'm sure that a lot of politicians have done that. It's kind of a thing politicians do, particularly on the conservative side. That's just one of those things that you need to get clear is that, the more Bible thumping your people tend to be, the more susceptible they tend to be to temptation. It's one of those things. It's like you look at superheroes, for example. You've got the ultimate Boy Scout, Superman, and then you've got Batman. How many times has Superman gone rogue? It's a thing that happens because he is so pure that when you're that pure, any impurity taints. It's one of those, it's like, why do you think Catholic priests, so these people that supposedly spent their lives being dedicated to morality and God and reading the Bible and things, and yet we keep finding them being accused of molesting children? It's like, this is I just saw a thing, it's like, it was an ad saying that if you were molested by the Mormon church, you could be compensated. And it's like, okay, the fuck? Is this just a church thing? I guess it is. And, it's like, I knew a guy who was molested in the Boy Scouts. I luckily was molested by females, like the Scoutmaster's daughters, which, implied that they were molested themselves by someone else. But, the molestation was pretty common, I guess. I think we just all have a very strong drive to breed. A single ice cube has been knocked loose. So hard to get this mix right, when you're eyeballing it. Anyway, so I mean, it's like the Gaetz Report. Matt Gaetz came out there and said, well, this wasn't brought against me in a court of law where I could defend myself. And it's like, bro, the report says what we already know. I mean, you're probably going to get the hand wave from Donald Trump, and people are going to swallow that because Donald Trump is kind of a religious leader. And I think maybe deep down, everybody kind of knows that these religious leaders are BS, but they just get swept up in it. Maybe that's what's going on. But I mean, we didn't learn anything from the report about Bill Gates, or about Matt Gaetz. Bill Gates also apparently was a friend of Epstein, just so you'll know. My understanding is that's why he got divorced, is that, his wife looked at him and said, I don't care if you actually had sex with those little girls, you were there when it happened, and that makes you a monster. So, I mean, I don't know if that's true. But apparently there was a connection between Bill Gates and Epstein. But Matt Gaetz, a different Gates entirely, we already knew he was a scumbag. He's a politician, and they tend to be scumbags. It's sort of like with the Kennedys banging everyone in sight. That's what they do. Bill Clinton, he wasn't exactly a saint, was he? I mean, it's like you look at Scarlett Johansson and Colin Jost. Like, I would assume that they're cheating on each other. At least Scarlett Johansson is probably going around being like, I'm going to have some fun every now and again. And because I'm the breadwinner, you're kind of going to have to tolerate that. We don't spend a lot of time together. And I can't, if I'm out there filming a movie, you can't just fly out and be there for me. So this is just kind of a thing. I don't know if that's true or not. But apparently it is a common thing in Hollywood where it's, people get married, but they're not exclusive, I mean, I would figure that there are politicians that are, pious people, or politicians that are chaste people, but I would also figure that there are plenty of them that are sickos. The same thing with, movie stars and rock stars and pretty much everyone. It's like, I worked at a place where there was this one chick that everybody was trying to bang this one girl. And it's like, she seemed to be into me, but I was like, this is a work relationship and I have to see you every day. So me being me, I'm not exactly smooth when it comes to women. So I know something bad's going to happen, and this is just going to get awkward, and then I'm going to lose my job. So that was what I thought about it. There's no shame in a person liking sex. And in Matt Gaetz' case, the understanding, or what he at least implied, is that, whereas women were having sex with him expecting money, this was not I'm going to pay you $200 to have sex with me. This is, I'm going to have sex with you and we'll see how much I decide to give you. In fact, one of the complaints that apparently has come out with Gaetz is that the women thought they were getting more money than they actually got. So it's like, if he had paid them more, maybe they'd be shutting up now. Or, well, let's be honest. Once they've got the money, unless they think they're going to get more money out of him, why would they be quiet? It's one of those things. It's like Stormy Daniels. I would imagine that if I hung out with Stormy Daniels, there would maybe be a 60% possibility that we'd bang just because she's a porn star. I would imagine that's a likelihood. Obviously, willingness is the decisive factor, but me being single, if I were, in a room with an attractive woman and she were interested in me, I would probably respond in kind. And, this whole concept of her and Donald Trump, it's like, well, I'm not saying you had to sleep with him, but when you say, hey, I let him do whatever he wanted because I thought it would be good for my career or whatever, I'm going, well, you're a porn star. It's a porn star thing. You didn't say no, you didn't leave, you weren't coerced. Let's just call it what it is. Consenting sex between two people. If there had been some unconsenting factor there, Trump apparently has forced himself on women. He just didn't force himself on Stormy Daniels. The fact that he did this while he was married to a beautiful woman and she was nursing his child, it may make him a scumbag, but I still didn't think, that's not the issue. The issue apparently was that he used campaign funds or something like that. I don't know what it is. It's a scandal. And it's one of those things. It's much like with Clinton. Clinton, he had an affair with somebody at the White House. He had an affair with a lot of women at the White House. I'm very sure of that. The issue there being is, well, yeah, but that's between him and his wife, not between him and the American people. There are things that should be said there, but do understand that, for one thing, the job of the president is very hard. And, they need to do things to keep him from cracking under the pressure. Whatever those things might be, again, sex between two consensual people, not my concern. And again, if Clinton had brought Monica into the bedroom with his wife and his wife had been, oh hell yes, more power to them. There's nothing wrong with that. That's them. That's their morality. We shouldn't judge people by our standards. We should let them be judged by their own morality. This does take the limitation of breaking the law. In Matt Gaetz' case, he had sex with an underage girl. Okay? And you could say that she was 17. 17 is very close to 18. It's questionable territory at that point. There are questions, did he know? Did he have reason to believe that she was of legal age? These are questions. Questions I don't have answers to. Doesn't change the fact dude went to a party, had sex with a chick, and then tipped her, apparently several times, which, is questionably legal. Okay? It's one of those situations where you have to point out the question of legality. If I, pick up a woman and the understanding is that she's going to get something and I'm going to get something, okay, is this legal? Yeah, technically. If you, for example, you go out with a woman and you buy her a lot of alcohol because that's what she wants, and her understanding with you is that you pay for booze, you get sex, that is legal, okay? It is morally questionable, but it is legal. And there are a lot of women who have basically solicited me in a way saying, look, you get me drunk, you could pretty much do what you want. I actually find that disgusting because it's like, so I need to get you drunk. You don't find me appealing. You just want alcohol. That's really insulting. And I'm not the most attractive man on earth, but, I shouldn't need to get women drunk to have sex with me, should I? It's really sad if I do. I mean, I love mixing drinks. I love the adventure to the palate, but I'm not a kind of person that gets drunk. So, what I'm getting at is the fact that the Gaetz Report, well, it's certainly not a flattering portrayal of Matt Gaetz, but it's nothing new. And yes, where he breaks the law, these are things we have to ask ourselves, is this a man that can be trusted with decisions that impact our country? I mean, on the one hand, what he did is probably not all that uncommon. On the other hand, he got caught. Questionable morality and, a willingness to break the law. It says something. I don't expect politicians to be saints. That's not how the world works. But, at least I wasn't surprised when I heard the Gaetz Report. Anyway, just my opinion. Love to hear yours. Comments below. I'm Richard. With the grace and stealth of a ninja, Danger Ducky says you should be hitting that like button. Then leave a comment and subscribe if you haven't already, because this channel is awesome and Danger Ducky will find you if you don't.